All right, so let's begin today's session with exploring Hirender S3 Pro. So what I'm going to do now is just to share my kind of slides so we can proceed with looking at this. So Hirender, okay, let's go with the program. I won't jump the gun. So first off, let's have some of you share where are you guys from. So I'm from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So if you guys want to just jump in and just tell us where you're from, so we can at least get an idea of where you guys joining in from for today's session. Can we have maybe 3 or 4 people just share your name and your location? Thank you. You can just jump in. Anyone? 4 people. Let's just do 4 people. Come on. All right, Lion. Hope it's Lion, yeah. Hyperspace is a nice club, right? Jad, am I saying it right? Jad. And oh, nice, Poland. Okay. I have one more person. Chintat, nice to meet you. Muhammad and Sarvan. All right. I think we're good. We got some response. It's made me very happy already. So let's proceed with our session. So before we get in, I'm just going to share a little bit about my company, what Cygnet Productions do. So we're a company based here in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. It's a very small team at the moment. We have it's me, my visual director, and my lighting director, as well as the services we provide. So primarily, we provide professional development opportunities for audiovisual and lighting systems. So basically, event technology, and for people who are doing live events and live productions, we provide solutions of training and education. Upcoming, we have 2 government-related grants, which we are executing as well. So these are the type of things that we do. We also do events and production. We have production teams for events as well, large scale and small scale. We are doing these sort of things just to practice what we are teaching as well. So we don't only teach. There's a stereotype of if you can't do, you teach. So we do and we teach. So we try to keep it balanced. And lastly, I would just ask if you could follow or like our pages on social media, where we would share content, and upcoming, it will be a lot more Hirender related content as well. All right, so we'll stop on Cygnet and let's look at Hirender. So the main question that we would have, of course, is what are the product lineups that we have on Hirender? So there are 3 versions of the product. There is the Hirender S1, Hirender S2, and S3 Pro. All right. So the main factor, of course, the question that we always get asked is, what is the price point? So in US dollars, S1 is $700 US, S2 is $2,000 US, and S3 Pro is $2,700 US. What are the differences? So essentially, we have the program window, which is limited on S1 and unlimited on S2 and S3 Pro. The outputs are limited on S1 and S2, and it's not limited for S3 Pro, but it will be a very, very extensive event if you have more than 6 4K outputs as well. This will be counted in pixels. So if you have 1 4K output here, which means you could do either 2 HDMI outs, HD outs as well, right? So in terms of virtual screens, you have 3, 10, and unlimited, and you can't cascade on the S1. However, you can cascade on the S2 and the S3 Pro. The standard functions are the same across the board, which is you have PowerPoint functions, NDI, preliminary supervisor support for your MIDI consoles, active backups, remote control timer. You can also connect it with ArtNet, add in text and colors and so on. Yeah. So this is the gist of what the product is, how many products we have, and what sort of things, what the current lineup of Hirender is at the moment. All right. So for today, we are going to dig into this essential and key features, which are things that are very, very specific to Hirender in that sense. So we are going to go through the interface, and we're going to do an interface overview. and we're going to go and look into the key features. So primarily the primary and backup mode, as well as you can add in PowerPoints and essential conference tools, and some LTC timecode generators and other things, other key features as well, which I'll be going through. Okay. So I'll be cutting into Hirender now. Give me a second. And it will share screen from here. Okay. All right, so I hope you're seeing Hirender. So all of these things, this is the essential overview and what the software does. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so that we can navigate a little bit easier. Okay, so first off, I'm just gonna reset the layout so it will look a bit more comfortable. All right. So on testing. Okay. Essentially, this is what it looks like. I've added in certain things such as the clips and all of this just to shorten the time it may take. So we will go through the entire interface for now, which minimize things. Okay. So Hirender S3 Pro, if we start from the top left, we work our way to the right. We have standard features such as like our file and things. These I would call basically housekeeping functions. So all our standardized things are here. You have your edit mode, edit, and you have your mode. So mode is where you set your device as either a primary or as a backup. Then you have your stage. Your stage is basically your screen. And you have your media, which is the type of content you can put in. You can even convert your files via Hirender. You don't need to leave the program. There's two ways to do it. One way is to not leave the program. You can add your program here. You can add your timeline. So your timeline will be in the bottom left and your program will be on your right. By default, you can move the windows around. And you can even do your timeline. You have your fixture, which is for your ArtNet and for your DMX control. You have tools such as enlightV Assist, which is an internal converter, and you can also make custom test patterns. So for example, this test pattern you see on the right was made via enlightV Assist, just to show what it can do. You have your window, which is the different modes and functions you may want to see. And you have a help tab where you can get your user manual, which will take you to the browser. And you have a feedback section, which will take you directly to a feedback portal. All right. So this is how Hirender functions from top, and we're going to go down from this part. So these are just functions that are also available here, but it's just unpacked and just laid down in the front here. So one key function for Hirender is that there's this connect button. So if you do not connect it, it will not connect to your screen output. It's basically an output enable. So, but if we disconnect, then it doesn't connect to your backup as well. And you have a standby mode, which means you can black out and you can go. That is kind of like a all blackout function or master blackout. And you have a preview mode. So preview mode means that you can edit while the program is continuously outputting as well. So only if you disconnect or you you disable the connect function, that's when your output will not show as well on your screen or your displays or projector, TVs, and so on. All right, so let's keep it connected. So this is how we would click on our display mode. So you have your screen. So you see it changes to a little more grid here. Then you have windows, so you can have different windows. You have a timeline, so the timeline will enable here. And you have the area. So the area is like more of a grid-based lasso tool finding thing. Okay, so this is the top section. On the right side here are your properties. So what does it do? If you click on something here, you click on your video clip, it's going to appear on your right side, which are the properties. So this is where you can change the output and change the display. So for example, here, and I want to make it brighter, I can do that. And if I want to reset it, I can reset it as well. Approve. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the other thing is that all your parameters or properties are on your right. And then on the left is where your content will be, your content library, your effects, your program out. So your program out will mirror the X over here. You have your timeline mode, which is over here, and you got your screens, which are over here. So all of this will mirror each other. The functions are not all on one place. It just depends on your work output. Okay. So if you are a VJ, or if you are someone who is familiar with how VJ systems work, then you will understand, or you'll be very, very comfortable with Hirender as well, because everything functions in a drag and drop fashion as well. So you can just take it, drag it, and drop it, and click it, and it will go, for example. Yeah. So in Hirender, one thing which is, or rather a special function or interesting feature that is for me, is that you have these more media types. So you have subtitles, NDI, clock, network image, stream, web page, and so on. So this is an example of what the web page looks like. It's essentially a browser. So you have your browser over here. And you have your browser over here, and you can edit your browser over here. So let's say we go to YouTube here and we find something like a cat video. Yeah. Yeah. And then we can wait for the ad to end. We can go into full screen and we can close it. So we can close the browser and it will show in a full frame on Hirender. So this will be outputting. So for example, if you have video lucky draw systems which are browser based, this would be an essential tool for you to do, because you would not need to leave your interface or leave your hardware, and you can just pipe it into Hirender directly through this. You can also, this is because I've not logged into my YouTube account, but on YouTube Premium, then you have all the premium functions as well. So you don't have your ads, and you can pause and play, and you can even download it offline on here as well. So this is just one example of what it can do. It also does audio. I just disabled the audio, that's all. Yeah. So it can take audio out as well. So on Hirender, this is one interesting key feature where you have the browser function. The one thing which you need to bear in mind is that there is no search engine. So you need to find it with www. Then you can go with youtube.com. Yeah, so that's how it would function. So if you just click in YouTube, like how we are comfortable with, nothing's going to happen because there's no search engine on it. Yeah. Okay. So this is one thing. The other thing would be you have built-in timers. So for us that do events that require timing and require lots of specific queuing, you can enable a timer. So you have your timer name. Let's just call it 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And we can set the time here. You can even set your time format if you just want it in seconds, hours, minutes, and seconds. Countdown or timing. So timing will go upwards. And the replay action to continue or to restart, and your end action, is it to stop or to continue. You can set your background of your text and your opacity. So once you have that there, let's drop it into our clip, and you have a timer ready. So what you could then do is either make it smaller or make it bigger, or then map it onto specific surfaces that you need to do. All right. So on Hirender, it's similar. It is more of a content management software rather than it being a VJing software. So it's a different workflow. It's more about specific content which is in high quality and high resolution, compared to it being a an effects-based or layer-based effect generating software. Yeah. So besides the timer as well, you have your NDI functions and you have your capture cards, which this window on your left is being captured in. And another key feature is that it can do PowerPoint. So you can drag and drop in a PowerPoint on Hirender and it will play back. Hopefully it behaves. It's not behaving. Okay, hang on. A little bit of a glitch. Let me take another file. Give me a second. Okay. So if we have our PowerPoint, so it will turn green and then, okay. So we have our PowerPoint here. And what we can then do is enable the PPT function on your bottom, right below on the last row of things here. So there's a PPT function which will pop up and it will show you it will tell you what it does if it's enabled or disabled. So once it is enabled, you can use your keyboard function to control the PowerPoint, which is like this. Yeah. So another key thing is that it does animations as well. So let's get to this slide, animated text. So if we click it, it will follow the animation that you have set up via your PowerPoint software, and it will follow through the last setting that you have saved it as. So it can do PowerPoint and it will do animations as well. All right. So you can even do sound files from your PowerPoint and it will play through. So just an interesting feature that I like as well. It helps a lot. Yeah. So you can do this as well. Okay. The next part is that okay. So if we step out of the formal events and let's go to more of the party and fun events, which are not too formal, which we just want visuals on our LED screens or projectors. So what it can do is simply, we can drop in various file types and various content into our window or program window here. And just to show you guys that I am using 4 different file types here. One is a HVC, one is a MJPEG, one is a ProRes, and the other one is a DXV. So if you are an Arena user, it's a very simple transition if you already have your library converted to DXV. So it does playback much smoother on DXV as well. So there's nothing to worry about. It is recommended to use HVC or MOV or MP4, but it's entirely up to our users. We don't want to limit our users to things that are specific file formats in case the option or the timing is unavailable in that sense, because there are times where we get content at the very last second before the show starts. So we don't want to limit our users to say, okay, we need to convert a file before we can load it in. So it does pretty well on all file types as we have tried. We even have tried with HAP files, which are rather big. That works out quite well too. So it was just kind of an experiment, which we found out, and it was quite interesting that it does take the playback very well too. All right. So besides all of that, we can also play back audio. So audio, it does playback for, this is you can do lossless audio playback. This is a FLAC file and the other one is an AAC file. So it does audio playback for high-res audio lossless files. It does pretty well. It doesn't tax it too much too. So, and it's quite an interesting piece of software, to be honest. So if you intend to do queuing for other things such as concerts and things like that, you could consider this as well, because the timeline functions and features are there as well. Okay. Finally, the one thing which we are very, very excited to share is that Hirender does a lot of, we can do a primary and backup mode. So this screen that you're seeing over here is my laptop on the right. It is a demo mode. So the display doesn't come out because I'm outputting it 2 times. So it's a demo mode of Hirender S3. So it shows the S3 Pro controller. So we can't output any display. So essentially, when we connect it, we are connecting two displays over here. And when we play back, oh, it does. It doesn't. No, it's wrong. Okay. Let me adjust this display here. Okay. So once we click on the display here, okay, I'm just going to show. So this window is the capture card, and the right side is the content. So this should be the content. Okay. So if I click over here on the clip, you will notice on the bottom right side there is a consistent timer, or rather a time code that's being run. So this time code is enabled whenever we do a primary and a backup mode. So when we go to mode and we connect the backup and we connect the primary, so then we have a primary and a backup mode, which is consistently running together at the same time. So what happens most of the time is when with two fully licensed devices, of course. So this one is fully licensed, one is a free mode because we are teaching. So we use the free mode for teaching purposes. What happens then is we have these content on the right. Sorry, did it again. The content on the right screen, it will follow through. So for example, this is a song that I'm playing, which if I pause it, it will pause through the entire thing. So for example, let me show you here, and let me pause the song over here. So if I pause it on this screen, it will pause on both windows as well. And if I play it here, it will play it on the same window as well. So I tried it out real time prior to this, and I can tell you that it is to the microsecond, I guess, where there is no issue of delay when it comes to playback options too. Yeah. So this is one thing which is quite impressive when it comes to S3 Pro and with Hirender. Yeah. Okay. So I thought it would take a lot more time, but we have quite fast today. I'm surprised. So let me just show you some other things you can do. So you can even have a clock loaded in if you intend to have a clock. And this will be a real-time clock, which is something which you can either put on a screen or put on a display as well. Yeah. All right. So I've gone through not most of it, almost all of it. So let's look at our Slido and let's see whether we have any follow-up questions to answer. We don't have any questions. Okay. Give me a second. All right, if you guys have any questions that you want to ask here as well, you can do that. Then at least we can answer it too. So if you want to just ask it in the chat here, that may be easier for some. Okay. All right, give me a second. I've got some questions up now, and I will share this screen. Okay, so first one, how do we capture the other monitor or other software that we have opened? Okay, so there's two ways to do it. The first is with NDI. The second is with the capture card. So what I'm using today is a capture card because we just bought a new capture card. So you can either get a 4K quality capture card or a 1080p capture card, and then we can load it in. So that's one way we capture the other monitor in. The other way is if you're talking about primary and backup, then it's a totally different thing. So that's one. Okay, good question. What's the minimum specs for the software? So recommended it is i5, 8 gig RAM and 500 gig SSD with at least 3060 lower spec graphic card. However, I'm just running this. One of my laptops is just an Intel HD graphics card with an i3, and I think it's only 8 gig of RAM. So this one is also quite stable. It has not crashed on me, and I've been loading it in as well. So it does take a minimum requirement, which it does help, which is kind of good. So it has a quite a low bar when it comes to software compatibility, right? Good question. If we do use MP4, does the interface tax the CPU? At this point, we have not had any issue with the interface taxing the CPU if we use MP4 files. We have used multiple versions of MP4. It's not been a problem. We have tried with MOV. We have tried with what's the other one? AVI, and with DXV as well. It does pretty well. HAP as well. It doesn't tax the CPU too much. And all of this, best bear in mind, we are running it on an i5 laptop when we did the testing. So it was a baseline laptop, and we tried as many file formats as possible, and it did not tax the CPU. So it's quite good in that sense too. Yeah. How I can get the demo mode? So there's one demo version, which is the free version, which you guys, I assume, have downloaded. So for the free version, there's no output. We are working on getting at least a 1080p output for the free version, so at least people can try it out and test it out with their laptops as well. Because all the software, all these Hirender softwares are on a dongle. So the dongle will enable the license to function. All right. Is the software only for Windows and not for Mac? At the moment, it is not for Mac. It's only Windows based. In the future, we will look for it being on Mac as well. So at the moment, it's all Windows based. It's quite stable and quite running well on Windows. So we are going to kind of keep it that way a little bit better. The software that is open is the same PC with Hirender. Is this still doable to screen cap? Yes. So you NDI it, and then you can set one region of interest or one as a monitor, and you can capture it in. If not, what you could do is, it depends on what sort of software. If it's a browser-based, I would suggest you opening it in a browser in Hirender. If it is capturing a software within a software, it will be a little bit difficult unless you are NDIing. The only thing I can think of is you have two screens of your PC is outputting perhaps two screens, and the other screen is where you put your software, and you can put your region of interest on that screen and capture it into Hirender. That's a good question as well. Good question. Does the interface show current hardware stats? Yes, it does. We have a function or rather a window which shows the stats. I need to find it, but yes, we do have a place to find the hardware stats. Yeah. Okay. Where to buy it? I try to register the website, I still cannot log in. Okay. There is someone in this chat room called Minda. So Minda is our international sales director. So she will be coordinating sales and follow-ups for this software. So what you could also do is contact me if you intend to purchase this software, and I can link you with Minda, and Minda will sort you out on the rest of it. Okay. I may have missed it earlier, but does Hirender support OSC input and output? At the moment, it does not. It can be done, but it's a bit of work, so we wouldn't recommend it at the moment. But yeah, we are working on a few things moving forward with Hirender. So one of it is OSC input and output. The other thing is integrating FFGL plugins. So those are things that we can do on those are things we intend to do on Hirender moving forward as well. So especially with the FFGL open source plugins, so we have more effects and functions that we can load in. Would you have a sample show rundown with maybe an intro PPDX rundown? You can a rundown you can run through as if a show. I do have one. Maybe you can contact me outside of this so that I can show you guys how to do it, because this is going to be very, very messy if I'm going to, because I'll need the camera behind me in that sense to show it. But we do have a sample show, something like this, but essentially what we have done today is to show all the functions that can be done, and then we just load it back in. How can connect with Stream Deck? Yes, I mean, you can connect it with Stream Deck. Is Companion supported? Is Companion supported? I don't think it is. Companion is not supported at the moment, but we are developing parts to link it with more softwares as well. With Stream Deck, you can set shortcuts as well. Let me go back into the rest. I'll just run through the rest of the questions first. Can you explain the timeline functions a little bit more? All right, I'll do that in a bit. Would you have an example of a show rundown? Okay, same person. How can we make presets? So presets would mean that we want certain things, for example, like left screen, middle screen, right screen. So those things would be kind of like a column trigger. So like an act trigger, we would just trigger everything on the same program window. Some PPT files doesn't work. Okay, so some PPT files doesn't work. There's a few factors to the PPT files. The first thing is the version of the PPT, and the second is the license on the computer. So that if the computer has an active file, an active Microsoft Office license, there shouldn't be an issue. If the files don't work, there's another factor, which is the files are it is not saved in a compatibility mode. It's probably a format issue. At the moment, I have tried with many other files like ad hoc things which come to us at events. We didn't have any issues so far. It's perhaps the demo mode that is running as well. I would say that would be the reason. Okay. Will this software be good for immersive rooms as mapping software? Yes, so you can use this for an immersive room setup. However, for larger scale, there's another software called HECOS, H-E-C-O-S, HECOS. So HECOS is a more flagship software from the same company that developed Hirender. It's called enlightV. So enlightV developed HECOS, which is more immersive, and you have XR solutions as well. So those will be something a bit more large scale, and it's all server based, and you can do various things which are a bit more, I would say a lot more advanced compared to what Hirender will do. So Hirender is more of a content management software. We can go quite big, yes. However, we don't want to tax the hardware as well. So this will be something dedicated such as HECOS, or running Hirender via the proprietary hardware. So the proprietary hardware is something that I don't want to mention in this round of our sharing session, because if we get into that, then it's going to be very spec heavy and very hardware related things which we can't really experience if we are online. So that's something we have to experience in person. Okay, you can connect a MIDI controller? Yes, you can connect the MIDI controller. So you can connect the MIDI controller as well. All right, so let me just filter through and okay, let me go back to Hirender. So stop sharing here. And let's share, go back to Hirender here, share. Okay, so let me just disable this guy. Sorry. Okay. So back to our display here. Okay, so how do you want to save a preset? So the question of preset is quite good. We can't really save a preset per se, but we can make columns such as this. And then you can line things up such as this. And you can make configurations as well. So for example, you have 3 screens. Okay, you have 3 screens. And essentially, by default, it will configure to 1, 2, and 3. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3, for example. I'm just going to move the content around. So we play it, it's going to be like that. So this would be one way for us to kind of make a preset as well. Okay. And how does the timeline mode work? So let's say we take these 4 videos and we drop it in our timeline. So we have 4 videos over here. We can then map. Sorry, it's not overlapping. It's all in one. It's all in one line. So we will do it like this. Sorry. Okay. So it's all in a line here, our timeline mode. Okay. After this, we're going to play the next one, play the next one. So what we can then do is on our program window here, we can add in a, 1 second, timeline here. So we can add in a timeline function here. This is here, wrong place. Okay. So this node timeline would then be linked to this features here. Then you have to add a segment. Add segment. There we go. Okay. So then what we can then do is play it from the timeline and it will go to our node as well here. So for example, the segment would be like this can be one segment and this can be another segment. Oopsies. Let's move this segment away. So first segment can probably be those 4 clips. Second segment can be our, I'm just going to use these 2 files over here, our audio files. Let's just say that these files are going to be played in loop like background music. So then we can have those to play over there. So it's playing as we can see. Yeah. So let's say we want to have music at the bottom and video clips on the top. We can do the same. Okay. And how do we map our keyboards and things like that? So that will be more related for our program window here. Let me just delete this. Yes. Delete. Yes. Okay. So for example, we want to play back this video clip. On our properties window on the right side, we will see keyboard is trigger, trigger keyboard or console. It can be MIDI or your input, your DMX512. So once you plug in your MIDI, it will show you over here. So on your keyboard, you can put in, for example, number 9. Let me just put number 9 and stop. So if I press number 9, it's just going to play the video clip over there. So that will be a form of keyboard mapping. So it's a similar thing with MIDI mapping. So if you go to console and you click MIDI, and then you're going to learn the MIDI from there. Okay. All right. Let's see if we have. Let me stop share here and share over here. Okay, my favorite question is, can you give us difference between Resolume, Millumin, and Hirender? Okay, Resolume is a clip-based software which does what do you call it? Essentially it's a VJing software. Resolume. I love the software. It's no hate for the software. It's amazing software. I trained the software as well. So it's a different function altogether compared to what Hirender is. So Hirender is a content management software. So it's mainly meant for content. So you have ready or finalized finished clips and you load it into Hirender. So Resolume will be clip-based, and of course you can autopilot and you can do effects and so on. Millumin will be something which is timeline-based, and of course you have Mad Mapper and Modulate and all of those, which are extensions and same family with Millumin but different functions. So with Hirender, we are looking at it being more of a watch out competition or watch out equivalent. So you have a timeline mode, which is very powerful, as well as you have your clip mode, which you can save your presets and so on. So those are the primary differences. So in when it comes to Resolume, Illumine, and Hirender, it's all three different things. So if we think of like Illumine is always branded as a theater software, and Resolume is always branded as a VJing DJ software. I mean, it is true. However, it has its pros and it has its cons. So it's a good software. It's all good software. It's all mature products. It's just that what is the difference? There's not many integrated solutions where you have a timeline and a video playback clip mode. All right. So Resolume. You can't compete with that because that's a VJ software. So it has its effects. It has its pros. Illumine is a timeline mode, primarily timeline mode, and it's always seen as a theater software. So it has its user base. So Hirender is going to be a merge and a mix. But for example, Resolume can't do a backup, primary and backup mode. So that will be one key point where Hirender can do it. So those are features that it can do. Yeah. So it's a question I answer a lot, but it's a very sensitive question as well. So it's not good, not bad. It's just that it has its different user base and it has the different functions. It's a whole different thing. So Hirender will be a content management software as compared to a VJing software. Yeah. You can create any report on content. I don't quite understand the question. So like, is it you want to create content on Hirender, or is it more like, I'm not sure how to answer this. Yeah, just you can send another message in here just to clarify. Okay, can you resize the window of the timeline? Let's try. Sorry, proof of play report. No, I don't think so. I've not heard of this function. For example, do you want to play it once and stop, or what is the idea of it? You can send in the chat here as well. At least you don't have to go back and forth. Okay. Okay, let's do this resizing thing. Let's stop sharing here and start sharing here. Okay, so can you resize the clip? No, you can zoom in here, but you can't resize it in terms of different scales and size if you intend to have different sizes here. Yeah. If you want to, you can zoom in on the timeline, but you can't widen the timeline. You can make it wide up and down. You can zoom in on the x-axis. For the clip mode, you can zoom out and zoom in, but it's all in proportion as well. Yeah. Okay, good question. Proof of play as in a log of what has been triggered. No, then we do not have that function at the moment of proof of play. Yeah. Okay. Really good questions today. 1 second, let me share my screen again. Okay, while the timeline is running, can you adjust the content live? You can, but what will happen is you need to do it very carefully as well. So what you can always adjust the content live in preview mode. So when you enable preview mode, the output will always maintain as what is being projected out. That's the main thing. So you can adjust the content live in case you want to scale up and down. You can do that on the properties tab as well, on the right side. Yeah. Okay, let me see. Yeah. So the proof of play with the log is the log of what has been triggered. I don't think it does that. Yeah. Yeah, my visual director is in the chat with you guys as well. So if you want to answer him, he's there. Jeremy. Yeah. Okay. Is there any more questions? Anything else that you want us to answer and support? The one question which is quite difficult to answer is, can you have the capability to add a Zoom or team call? If it is browser-based, yes, you can put it on the browser and you can load it in, but you can't call into Hirender in that sense. So if you can have Zoom running on a browser, then you can pipe it in. If not, of course, you can do a capture card method, which you can capture the Zoom on another screen and send it through. Yeah. Okay. Any more questions? I thought we would take a lot longer, but quite fast. Hirender support director mode similar to Pixera. Yes and no, but it's something which I need to dig deeper into. But director mode will be something more like master and slave, if I'm not mistaken, unless I'm wrong about that. But it has similar functions of having yeah. Whoever asked the question, you can cut me off and just explain it. Play on server that does output. Yeah, okay, yeah, then yes, you can do director mode. So you can have, for example, you can have your laptop as a primary or a backup, or you can have it as a primary, and you can run, you can have the controller. So like the Hirender S3 Pro controller. So this can be your triggers, and your output can be from your display. So that can be done as well, yes. Yeah. So we do have a server which comes with Hirender, which is another price point. So those are basically very high-end PCs. Yeah. The software can see any device capture. So far, we have used a lot of third-party and unbranded capture devices. There's no issue with it. It still captures very well, and it doesn't. It's quite stable. I've used brands such as just completely unknown brands to known brands, such as Magewall and Blackmagic as well. Those support quite well. And I've also used things like Ilano, which is quite an unknown brand too. Okay, contents will be loaded into Director and it'll be distributed to individual servers. Yes, so this is our primary and backup or the master slave mode. So it can be done via Hirender. So you can load everything from one device and you update it and it will go to the other devices. You can do that. It's possible. Does it support NDI with audio? At the moment, it does not, because I think NDI 6 is new. It's quite stable on other stuff, but NDI with audio, it doesn't support at the moment. So we have tried testing it with audio. It doesn't go through. Yeah, that's one thing which we are working on as well. Can read external timecode. Yes, it can read external timecode, and it can also generate timecode. So you can generate an LTC from Hirender. So it's just a matter of getting linking in the interface and getting a capture in as well. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else? Maybe last 3 questions or so. Can Hirender use assets on an external SMB drive, or does it need to ingest every movie locally? You can use it from an external drive. There's no problem. It will be a matter of CPU processing. So it's going to take from one end and put in the other end in that sense. Of course, preferably it will be preferably it will all be locally. But I mean, I understand there are some times where we wouldn't have the chance to. I mean, it's going to be something which is last minute where you need to put it from an external drive. Yeah. You can trigger any DMX device. You can trigger ArtNet. Yes. So you can link ArtNet and you can do triggers from that. So that's an option. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else?
Okay, fine. Yeah, no.
Okay, so okay, so I think we are good to go. Minda, are you on the chat still? Minda, Minda. No, Minda. Yes. Okay, Minda, do you can you do you have a mic? Can you talk or open your camera so at least people can see you and buy Hirender from you? Okay, where
Hi,
is Minda?
let
Yeah.
me
So
yeah.
okay, so this is Minda. Minda is our international sales director. So for anything related to sale and purchase of Hirender, you can contact Minda. She will send, I mean, from all the people who have registered, we will have a follow-up email just on the purchase process of Hirender as well. Okay, so Minda, just you want to say something or something?
Yeah, it's okay. I just sent my emails on the chat, so anybody that have interested about the Hirender can contact me or contact Daniel.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And yeah, replace spotlight. Okay. All right. So I think we are good. This is our first time we are doing it live, and we've got a nice response of 27, 28 people. It's quite exciting and how we're going. So before we end, we're just going to do the most COVID thing, which is to have a picture, which is on the little Windows thing, yeah, that picture thing. So let's all get our cameras up, and then let's just take a little picture for memory's sake. And yeah, okay. So bear with me for the next few more seconds. Okay. View. I'm just gonna go full screen. Okay. It's just a setting that I didn't do. Screen general. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, let's just wait for everyone else to get their cameras on, and then we're gonna do a little screenshot thingy. Okay, guys, you're using desktop and there's no webcam. I completely understand. We're not gonna hold you hostage. It's cool. Yeah. 28 of us. Yeah, we're just gonna give it another minute lah. Whoever who unable to do it is fine. It's cool. Yeah. All right, guys. So let me just remember the shortcut, and let's just do a screenshot again. And all right. So 1 second again. Sorry. Gallery. Okay. So okay, smile. Okay, one more time. All right. Okay, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate your time and your energy and your support for coming to our first session. If you're in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and you want us to come over to your site or to propose some solutions, we are nearby. If you are out of the country, please let us know how we can support you, and we will make accommodations to come and visit you guys as well. So we're looking forward for more sessions like this. And yeah, thank you so much for your support. Okay, we are going to end the session, and we hope to stay in touch. And thank you so much, guys.